It is Election Day. There are some key races in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. How the results could shape the future of our area for years to come.
Students and teachers could be kicked out of the classroom if one school district can't get state funding. The schools in our area that are at risk.
SNAP recipients, they're lining up to get help because of the government shutdown. The organizations and businesses in our area that are trying to meet the need. Those stories and more on today's edition of The Lineup. It is Tuesday, November 4th, 2025.
Hey everyone, I'm NBC 10's Keith Jones.
And I'm NBC 10's Erin Coleman. Let's get you up to speed with what you need to know today, starting with breaking news this morning.
That's right. Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died. His wife, Lynn, along with his daughters, Liz and Mary, were by his side. He was vice president for George W. Bush. His family says he died from complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease. They called him a great man who taught his children and grandchildren to love our country and to live lives of courage. Cheney was 84 years old.
It is Election Day and polls are open all over the area.
And the biggest decision is in New Jersey for the governor. NBC 10's Brenna Weick at the polling location in West Deptford, where voters are ready to cast their ballots.
Voting is well underway here in New Jersey. We have seen a steady stream of people coming to cast their ballots since the polls opened at 6 a.m. here in West Deptford. Now, because this is not a presidential election year, we don't expect to see as many voters as last year. But this governor's race has been heated, and hundreds of thousands of people have already cast their ballots during early voting. People from across the country are watching what's happening here as a sort of indicator of the voter sentiment toward the current administration. Both candidates were rallying voters last night in their hometowns. Democrat Mikey Sherrill was joined by Cory Booker in Montclair, while Republican Jack Ciattarelli was joined by his Army captain's son in Raritan. Sherrill, a former naval helicopter pilot, advocated for New Jerseyans to stand against the Trump administration. Meanwhile, Ciattarelli, a state lawmaker, went after his opponent's competence.
Here in New Jersey, we are saying that in our state, our kids, our families are going to have a great future in our state.
She's going to tell you she knows how to run that helicopter, but if you watch this campaign, including the two debates, it's evident she doesn't have a clue on how to run the state of New Jersey. She doesn't.
This year, New Jersey is allowing election officials to start counting mail-in ballots up to 5 days before Election Day. So that means we could have quicker results than in years past. Polls opened at 6 o'clock this morning, and they will be open until 8 o'clock tonight. Count on NBC 10 to bring you updates as we get them. Reporting in West Deptford, Brenna Weick, NBC 10 News.
Another race we'll be following in New Jersey, the contest for Atlantic City Mayor. Democratic Mayor Marty Small is running for his second full term against Republican businessman Naeem Khan. This all comes as Small and his wife Laquetta, who's the superintendent of Atlantic City Schools, face charges accused of abusing their teenage daughter. Both have pleaded not guilty. The trial for Marty Small is set to begin December 1st.
In Pennsylvania, voters will decide whether to retain 3 Pennsylvania Supreme Court justices. The Democratic judges are up for another 10-year term. It is a yes or no vote. If they are removed, the bench could be deadlocked for years. Now, there's a key race to watch in Philadelphia. District Attorney Larry Krasner is running for another term. He's up against former Judge Patrick Dugan. Now, Dugan lost to Krasner in the Democratic primary, but is now running as a Republican. Count on NBC 10 for complete Election Day coverage. We're going to have teams fanned out all over the area, watching the key races, talking to voters, tracking the results, and monitoring any issues at the polls. You can also head to our website, NBC10.com, or our free app for instant updates.
Well, the ongoing state budget impasse in Pennsylvania is leading to disaster for some school districts. In Bucks County, Morrisville is making plans to shut down if funding isn't released by the end of January.
NBC 10's Lili Zheng is in Morrisville, where parents are understandably upset.
Parents are scrambling to figure out what to do if, in fact, these doors do close in January. Meanwhile, the district says they have never heard of anything like this happening before.
I'm frustrated would probably be, understating how I'm feeling.
That's a Superintendent Andy Doster. He oversees the 2 schools. They serve almost 1,000 students. Nearly 130 staff members would be unemployed if the schools close. There's Grandview, which serves K through 5, plus the middle and high school. Doster says the district relies on state funding for more than half of its operating budget. So he says unless they get what they've been owed since August, they are not going to be able to meet their payroll and operating costs by mid-January. The superintendent says they're doing everything it can to stay afloat, but without a clear answer of where staff and students would go, it does not bring families a lot of comfort.
We knew that you know, there was a problem, but we didn't see this coming, but we knew we were tightening our belts. We were not making any frivolous purchases.
I didn't think it was going to take this long, so I hope that we're at the end of this instead of the beginning of it.
This morning, our team is still waiting for a response from the representative and senator who represent this district covering Morrisville schools. We'll keep you posted as soon as we learn more. For now, reporting in Morrisville, Lili Zheng, NBC 10 News.
And there are still questions about when SNAP recipients will see their November benefits.
So the Trump administration now says it will use contingency funds to cover about half of each household's benefits. But the agriculture secretary says it's going to take several weeks to execute those partial payments. New Jersey's National Guard, in the meantime, has been deployed to help those food banks. They're going to deliver critical resources to the facilities and help with food distribution as well. Some of those lines getting pretty long out there. As families wait for the government to make the SNAP payments, more are heading to food pantries like Babashi in West Philadelphia. Those who work there say the need for food is overwhelming.
We're getting crushed with clients that we were not expecting. We knew it was going to increase, there was going to be a rise, but seeing a doubling, tripling of our clientele coming in, these are new folks.
Food Pantry tells us it's seeing an increase in donations, but it's using more of its budget to buy food to meet that rising demand.
A Montgomery County restaurant is also helping people who are missing their SNAP benefits right now. Starting today, the Springhouse Taverners serve free meals to SNAP and Weick card holders. That's on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 4 to 8 p.m. You can just show your card and get a free soup or salad and an entree from a special menu. Happening today, Phil Abundance is getting a giant donation. Giant grocery stores plan to donate 1,500 turkeys to the nonprofit, part of a larger donation of 50,000 turkeys to food banks across Pennsylvania and beyond. Giant is also sending a group of volunteers to help Phil Abundance prepare for the holiday season. There is even more help for SNAP recipients across our area. We've got a list of trusted resources available on our free NBC 10 app and NBC10.com. Our digital team will also compile and update a list as the government shutdown continues. This story is sure to get you in the holiday spirit. We're learning about the plans for this year's Wanamaker Light Show and Dickens Village.
So both holiday staples, they are going to return to 13th and Market on Black Friday. The Philadelphia Visitor Center stepped in to manage the events after Macy's closed earlier this year. More than 1,000 people donated to the Save the Light Show campaign to help keep the decades-old tradition going.
People feel deeply attached to it and want to see it continue and want to continue to bring this experience to their children and their grandchildren.
There will still be shopping inside the Wanamaker building this holiday season. Dozens of pop-up shops are going to be selling seasonal gifts and treats. There will also be food and drink.
So it's going to feel like old times a little bit, which is nice.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to bring the kids back this year.
That's great.
I've just decided.
Yeah.
Because they've never been. I went as a kid, but
and
they've
I
never
think,
been.
too, the more people that show up here, the more there's going to be an obvious need for this to come back year after year and not to be solely based on donations each and every year.
Exactly.
That's the worst fear
let's
here.
just make it happen.
Let's just make it happen.
You
Exactly.
have all the stuff.
Exactly.
Just
it's all there. It's an historic
it out.
space, too, that only gets more and more special as years go on.
Yeah.
You got to keep it going.
Keep it going. All right. That does it for today's edition of The Lineup.
For Erin Coleman, I'm Keith Jones. You can get NBC 10 News updates right here on the NBC 10 app. You can also catch us weekday mornings from 5 to 7 a.m. Have a great day.